The fight of the century might have very well been Game 7 of the Clippers versus the Spurs. I'm sitting with longtime Clippers fan J.R. Jackson, rocking a shooting sleeve. I have to mention it. So Chris Paul may have just rewritten his own legacy by hitting not one but two unbelievable clutch shots. The guy who we have been saying all year long should be controlling that ball every goddamn time as the game comes to a close. But Gerald, take us through the game from the fans' perspective, from the TYT Sports perspective. What did you see that made the Clippers really beat the one team that still people had going to the finals in the San Antonio?
Well, I think this is the thing. The story's been on Chris Paul, and the thing is, he gets the rap for ruining playoff games and doing things the wrong way. And I can't believe he did that in clutch time. He's still not clutch. He only plays quarters 1 through 3.5, you know? So that's lately has been the knock on Chris Paul. In reality, I've always kind of disagreed with it. Yeah, he makes those mistakes at the end. But when he's made those mistakes, it's not when he's trying to shoot the ball. It's when he's trying to set up someone else because the play is never going to him. So I don't think he's not had a clutch shooting performance at the end of games. He's had a non-committal performance because he's not shooting the ball at the end of games. This season, we see it differently. He's always been clutch shooting. He hasn't had the opportunity to do it. He did it this time, and look how many times it has happened. Not just in this game, but in the games throughout this series. When Blake Griffin was out during this regular season, he was taking over, and he had to. So once he did, you see how good the guy really is. And number two, just to even put himself in those positions, you have to have a good shooting performance from J.J. Redick, which we got. You have to at least have Matt Barnes hit 2 or 3 of the 10 wide open three-pointers he gets every game.
They were down 105-102, and Matt Barnes came up big. Yep. For Matt Barnes, he stepped up to an occasion that I would have absolutely said, well, that ain't going in.
Yeah, because it hadn't been. And he's been in the slump, it's fine. People have those, you know. But you need to have it at some point. And since the series went 7, it came at the best time, honestly. You know, once he finally got those in. So the focus is always on J.J. Redick at the end of those games to hit those three-pointers, to tie it up, which happened multiple times. I think we had 31 lead changes that game. And so near the end, when it kept going back and forth, and I think they were down 107, 104, something around that.
Right. Yes.
That's when Matt Barnes hit the top of the key three-pointer.
Yes. 105-102 is the top of the key three-pointer.
Yeah. So then when those happen, those set you up to then give it to your superstar to finish. He needs a little bit of help. Nothing is done by one guy. The Michael Jordan stuff we talk about, we always forget. I don't think everyone does, but I always hear people forgetting about it. The Paxson hitting the mid-range jumper when Jordan was there. And Kerr hitting the mid-range jumper.
Kerr hitting his mid-range. Scottie Pippen getting the offensive rebounding, the kick back out to Jordan to set him up again.
Yep.
And Chris Paul, completely forgot to mention this, on top of his ridiculously clutch performance, he had a hurt hamstring. He went out of the game for a little bit.
In what point of the game?
The first quarter. Because remember, he shows up first quarter through 3.5. Not the fourth, but he absolutely did today. Not today. This was Saturday. So when it comes down to the next series, you guys got the Rockets. I am adamant about this one. If there's a Rockets-Grizzlies West Finals, of course I will be watching, but I would not be nearly as happy compared to a Warriors versus Clippers series, because that's actually a lot of fun. I'm allowed my biased-ass opinion on what we want to see.
And what I love about series, if we're talking about potential Warriors, Clippers, is they don't like each other.
No.
Everyone loves.
Close. Good rivalry.
Everyone loves the Warriors. They're a fun team. They're a video game team, right? But there's some bad blood, and I love it. I mean, you have the gritty guys, and you see these two California teams. They're the shooters. They're the palm trees and sunshine guys. But these two teams don't like each other, and that would be a lot of fun. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves because we know they have to get through the Rockets.
Of course, they have to get through the Rockets. And first of all, we know the officiating, and I'm usually the last one to ever blame officiating during any kind of series because I don't like putting that on the refs. I don't think it's fair because the heat of the moment, it's tough. We did a clip earlier last week where we looked at some of the calls that the refs were making. And it's never going to be, from a fan's perspective, fun when the refs blow the whistle every 10 seconds. Well, guess what's going to happen, Clippers versus Spurs? Clippers versus Rockets. Harden goes into the lane with his arms out. He's going to get hacked. He's going to go to the line a lot. Dwight Howard's going to go to the line a lot. Personally,
I think Jordan's going to go to the line a lot too.
I'm sure, but I don't think as much. I don't see Kevin McHale trying to pull a Greg Popovich-like system to win those games. Now, Chris Paul is questionable for tonight's game against the Rockets. How is that going to affect the flow of the game? He's coming off his best game ever, in my opinion. I've never seen Chris Paul did what Chris Paul was able to accomplish in that Game 7, stepping up at the right moments. But now without Chris Paul, if they win without him, you're set. You got 1-0 on the road. If they don't, he's probably going to be needed.
Right. Well, this is the thing. This is going to test the grit of the rest of your team. I mean, did he inspire everyone else to be able to play in his absence, potential absence, or I mean, because honestly, they could use him taking a day or two off. I mean, if not just physically with the hamstring, but like emotionally, you almost saw him break down after that win, a first-round win, which I'm going to go ahead and say was the best first-round series in NBA playoffs history. That was amazing. Throughout the series, I heard that the Spurs outscored the Clippers by 3 points for the series, for 7 games of a series. I don't know how much closer it can get than that. But after
2 points, 1 point.
maybe, and have there been other first-round series that went 7 that were closer? I don't know. I mean, maybe I got to check. Maybe I have to check. And are that back and forth exciting? I don't know. But the thing is, so I mean, emotionally and physically, I think you need a little bit of time. The fact that it's going to end up being 2 days before he plays, you would like to have the luxury of resting him and still maybe getting something out of this.
Yes. So before we go, of course, we do want to mention that we will be bringing you more coverage, of course, throughout the NBA playoffs. It's my favorite time of year with all the sports that are going on. The Cavs and the Bulls with no Kevin Love, a lot of speculation, a lot of headlines, JR, that with no Love, I think J.R. Smith is still suspended. The Bulls can win this series, which of course they can win this series. The Bulls are a fantastic team. I do believe Thibs runs his team into the ground, and we start seeing how that affects them as they go along, going on. But outside of the Clippers versus the Rockets, Warriors, Grizzlies, this is really, to me, the series that I will be watching intently because this is, once again, all on LeBron James.
This is potentially be the second best series of this playoff season because this is going to be awesome. I can't wait for this series. This is going to be awesome. So again, now we're talking about tags and labels of the LA or the California teams. These are 2 blue-collar city grit and grinded out teams, and it's going to be great. And I love that kind of playoff basketball. You hear old veterans say playoff basketball, and I always hate that term. So you need to hack people more. I don't know, but which that has been eliminated. But it's just going to be grit and grind, and I love that part.
It's going to be fantastic. I don't want to make predictions because every time I've made predictions during the NBA playoffs, they've been pretty freaking awful. So if I make a prediction the way I want it to go, it might not come true. So I'm keeping my goddamn mouth shut.
You have their thoughts. You just won't let us know.
I'm just not gonna. You can.
I just want to go ahead and brag. I only had 1 series wrong in the first round, and
which one?
Obvious, the Raptors series. That was disastrous for Toronto. Disastrous for them. But every other one of them, I called. Even with the games that we won and lost, I was let off by a game prior in 2 of them.
Jared Jackson was calling me up before the Clippers game, and he's like, watch Chris Paul hit a crazy bank shot, and there's going to be exactly 1.0 seconds left on the clock. I was like, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But it did. It did. Crazy. Guess what happens when you're rocking the beautiful sleeve. All right, guys. TYT Sports, J.R. Jackson, Jason Rubin. As always, leave your thoughts, comments, predictions in the comments section below. We're here to answer them for you as always. Can't wait for this series. Who's moving on to the West and East Finals? We'll bring you more coverage as we go. Don't forget to subscribe. It don't cost a damn